This time on episode 230 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we discuss Black Panther, Marvel News Roundup, and your feedback.
I'm Jason from the Digital Soup Podcast, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at gonnageek.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. This show's recorded on Sunday, February 25th, 2018, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios. Ladies, happy National Chocolate Covered Nut Day.
I ate some of Dee's nuts yesterday.
We are all about these nuts here.
We love Dee's nuts.
Apparently, the D's Nuts plays in Peoria, doesn't it? All right, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming back next week, Marvel's Defenders on Netflix, Legion on FX, possibly The Gifted on FX, or the Fox, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the Marvel Comic Universe in general.
Because of the chanclas. I told you all you wouldn't find it as funny as I did.
Haley, why'd you do yours?
What did you say, Lauren?
The chanclas. They're sandals.
Oh. If you'd like to talk to us about funky sandals, you can visit our website at legendsofshield.com.
You can call and leave us a voicemail about chanclas at 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871.
Y'all can educate these people about chanclas on Facebook at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
You can complain about how I described those sandals by tweeting us at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You can watch YouTube videos all about chanclas on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/gonnageek.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the gonnageek.com network.
And I would like to point out that I knew what chanclas were, but I did not have the next line in the script, so it's not my fault.
It's never Haley's fault, but it is.
Totally not my fault.
Y'all folks.
We're back. We took a couple weeks off, but we're back. This is good. Yes,
Yay!
this is good.
So good to see y'all again.
All right, so we're gonna
Been a while.
Yeah, it has, but we're gonna get right into the episode because there's a ton to talk about Black Panther. So here we go. We all saw Black Panther, which is the 2018 Marvel Cinematic Universe film. I actually just saw it yesterday. Ladies, when did you see it?
I saw it the Thursday that it came out. So that's what, like the 15th?
Probably. So a little over a week and a half ago. Haley, when did you see it?
I did not get to see it until Wednesday the 21st, which is like almost a week after it came out. I think that's the longest I've waited to see a new Marvel movie in a decade.
Yeah, this was fun trying to get tickets to. You know, in the past, I've always said that, hey, it's no problem. I can get into a theater. Yeah, this was a problem. Michelle, when did you see it?
President's Day.
Okay, so the Monday it came out.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would have seen it sooner. I would have had my tickets pre-bought, but I was out of town the weekend it came out, and it just was not conducive to going to see Black Panther.
I did intend on seeing it the day or the weekend it came out, opening weekend, but unfortunately I had some stuff pop up at home. I had to take care of that. I've only seen it once. Has anybody seen it more than once?
I have not had the chance to see it again. I really, really, really want to. Trying to get a chance to get together with some friends and go. Seriously, y'all, I have so many thoughts on this movie. I've been wanting to talk about it with y'all so bad.
I know. I have a Marvel group that I chat with my friends on, and right now we're still under the moratorium of we're giving people time to go see it, so we're not talking about it yet. So I have so many things to say.
Yes.
Well, it's a good thing we have a podcast about it.
If it's the same group chat that I'm in that I keep forgetting about, we all took the BuzzFeed quiz of which Marvel character or which Black Panther character are you? And I got Nakia, and I was so happy.
I forgot to take it, but I feel like I'm Shuri.
I got Nakia. I was happy.
Michelle, who do you think you would be if you took that quiz?
I would hope I'd be Mbuku.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to pull it up on BuzzFeed.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now on my phone. We can keep doing the podcast, but I'm going to take this quiz real quick.
Yeah, we can keep doing the podcast, but I want to know who y'all are.
All right.
Wait,
so no, we're not. We're going to keep going with the podcast. We'll do that later. Matter of fact, Haley, why don't you talk about the producers of the show?
Okay, so this first guy, I don't know if anybody's heard of him yet. Kevin Feige? Vega?
You mean
Feige?
the guy that
Stank?
controls all?
He's done a few other Marvel movies. He's been the producer on. He has 62 producing credits. Every single one of them is for a Marvel Comics-based property, TV and movies. I think almost every Marvel Comics thing that's come out since X-Men in 2000. So that's including the last Blade movie, the second of the first Fantastic Four movies, some of the Spider-Man movies, everything. All the Marvel stuff. It's got his name on it. It's got his fingerprints on it. Some of the other credited Black Panther producers: executive producer Victoria Alonso, executive producer Louis Desposito, executive producer Jeffrey Chernoff, co-producer David J. Grant, executive producer Stan Lee, and executive producer Nate Moore.
All names that we've heard of before. So yeah, the usual suspects in terms of the production team. However, in terms of the director and writer of the film, Michelle, who do we got?
The film was directed and written by Ryan Coogler. Has 8 directing credits, including Creed. Also written by Joe Robert Cole. Has 5 writing credits since 2011, including 2 of American Crime Story.
So relatively newbies to the film space, but I think they did a good job.
By the way, Ryan Coogler is 31 years old. So this dude, y'all.
He's very talented.
This dude.
So talented, so young.
I was going to say this kid.
Fruitville Station is...
Oh my God.
Wasn't this one originally supposed to be directed by Ava DuVernay?
It was.
Okay.
And she and Marvel couldn't
Parted
reach
ways.
an agreement on
Creative
their vision for it.
differences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But now she's doing A Wrinkle in Time. So
Right, which
it's all
I'm
good.
so excited about.
So hype.
When does that come out?
March 3rd?
Soon.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't see that trailer this weekend.
March something very soon.
I saw the trailer for A Wrinkle in Time, and it had like a little introduction by Ava DuVernay before Black
Yeah.
Panther.
Me too.
March 9th. March 9th.
Okay. I was going to see the next movie I was excited to see is Ready Player One, but now I'm excited to see this. So it's going to be a
I need
movie
to
going
read that
spring.
book real quick before the movie comes out.
Wrinkle in Time?
No, Ready Player One. I've read A Wrinkle in Time several times.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if I'll get there, but I'll enjoy the film either way. All right, so that's the creative team. Now we're going to get into the actors, the stars of the show. Lauren, who do we got first?
So as T'Challa, we have Chadwick Boseman, who I always think is British. He is not. He's just very good at accents. He has a whole lot of credits. 30 credits starting... Okay, it says since 1970 because of All My Children, but he didn't actually start acting in 1970. That's just when All My Children started. His first credit is in 2003 on All My Children. And he's been on things like Third Watch, Law and Order, Fringe, which kind of blew my mind.
Totally forgot he was on
Castle.
Fringe. Yeah.
Yeah, Lincoln Heights, Persons Unknown, Lie to Me. His first real big movie thing was in 42 as Jackie Robinson, which is where he kind of came to on my radar. Get On Up, he was James Brown. He's done a whole lot of biopics. Like he was in Marshall last year as Thurgood Marshall. He was in that terrible Gods of Egypt movie as Thoth. And now he's Black Panther. He's T'Challa in Civil War and here in Infinity War and in the untitled Avengers movie that used to be Infinity War Part 2. So yeah, guy is super good.
He is indeed. You know, the bulk of actors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that came out of ER, it's just amazing. Maybe it's
because ER ran for like 20 years.
Yeah.
It's like the number of actors who have been in Law and Order. It's all of them.
Yeah. Adana Girl on Twitter was just doing an ER rewatch because it just got put on Hulu.
Oh.
And there's somebody on there, like Ming Na was on there. Ming Na Wen. She was on there for several seasons, and that was back when I was still watching it.
Right. She was on there for a few seasons and then gone for a while, and then she came back, and she was even more awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Just everybody was on ER. Such a good show. Oh, what's his name? Baby Chekhov, who died. His very first role was on there.
As like a child?
An episode. Yeah, he was in the episode that broke my heart as a kid, where Kelly Martin got stabbed. Yeah, he was a kid that was in a car accident, and I remember.
Yeah. You've talked about it before on the podcast. I remember now. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, next actor.
Okay. Breaking news. I did, in fact, get Shuri on the BuzzFeed quiz.
Haley, who else are we talking about?
Next up would be Michael B. Jordan, who played Njadaka / Eric Killmonger Stevens. He has 42 acting credits starting in 1999 with The Sopranos. The first thing I personally remember seeing him in is in Parenthood, a TV show he did 16 episodes of. He also did 13 episodes of The Wire, One of the Bones, 26 episodes of Friday Night Lights. He also has done the films Chronicle, Fantastic Four, which so many people saw, and Creed.
Oh, he was in Gears of War 3 too.
Ooh.
Oh, and he was Cyborg in Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox.
Oh, yes, he was. But Fantastic Four, if we're going to talk about him in that, we have to talk about how we now have 2 Human Torches in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, this is the MCU is where it's like failed Human Torches come to rehabilitate.
Well, they can do that too, because Fantastic Four has never been a part of the MCU yet. It's just been additional films made by some other movie house that will all be
who
forgotten.
Knows if it ever will be.
I've never seen this Fantastic Four movie, by the way. It's just been...
The one he's in, I haven't either.
Yeah, so panned.
I haven't either. And R.I.P. Reg Cathay, by the way, who played his dad in it, who just died this past week. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. We have a lot of other people to talk about. So, Michelle, who else are we talking about?
We have Lupita Nyong'o, who plays Nakia, our favorite super spy. She is an Academy Award winner for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role for 12 Years a Slave. She's also done Star Wars as Maz Kanata, and hopefully she'll do many other wonderful things.
Indeed. She also is voiced the Jungle Book and has been in a couple of Star Wars stuff. And this, Michelle, I will give you Academy Award winning. You can go ahead and say that all day long as far as she's concerned, because I will get behind that. If I hear Academy Award winning certain DC film again, I think I'm going to cut somebody. Anyway.
I have killed that. I have killed that. I started it and I have killed it.
Good. Okay, so Lauren, who do we have next?
Okay, next we have Danai Gurira as Okoye, who is the general in charge of the Dora Milaje, the king's bodyguards. And she has 18 credits since 2004, starting on Law and Order: Criminal Intent. She's been in Visitor. Yeah, she's been in Life on Mars, the US version. Law and Order. Again, everybody is in Law and Order. She's in My Soul to Take, Treme, All Eyes on Me, the Tupac movie. What she's probably best known for is her role as Michonne in The Walking Dead. And now she's Okoye here and in Infinity War.
And she's also an accomplished playwright. She actually wrote a play that Lupita did. So she has more talent than a lot of people realize.
She's really cool. There, I think, was just an interview with her on The Nerdist, which is now Idiot, a podcast.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It's a branding issue. Like,
Okay.
The Nerdist is now owned by, I think, Paramount.
Okay.
He sold the network off, and then he wanted to
keep his little podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Next up, we've got Martin Freeman playing Everett K. Ross, the good white guy. He has 77 credits starting in 1997, probably going to be best known to our listeners as either Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit movies or Watson in Sherlock. He was also in Love Actually. He did 14 episodes of The Office. I'm assuming that's the UK Office.
It is.
Yeah.
He was Jim. Well,
okay.
The Jim role.
Okay. I have not seen either version of The Office, so I'll take your word for it.
I haven't either, but somehow I know that.
Know these things. He was also in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as Arthur Dent. He was in Fargo and Captain America Civil War.
Yeah. So for the longest time, I knew him as the naked guy from Love Actually. And then I saw Hitchhiker's Guide, so I was like, okay, it's Arthur Dent. And then I saw The Hobbit, and I'm like, okay, it's Bilbo. I mean, I also saw Sherlock, but I'm not as huge of a Sherlock fan as the internet, so...
The range of acting for Martin Freeman is really cool. In this particular rendition that he plays, I expected him to wear glasses. I think the only reason he doesn't is because he's supposed to be a former Air Force pilot, but he's like, he talks like a little squeaky nerd, and he's totally not.
The thing about him, first of all, the character is from the comics. He's kind of a dick in the comics, if I remember right. But with Martin Freeman, the real gold of his performance is just go back and look at any role he's ever done, is his reaction. The guy is just gold at reactions. And I think that's why he's kind of holding his own in this movie.
He does. And we'll talk about that. Michelle, who do we have next?
We have Daniel Kaluuya. Kaluuya as Wakabi, T'Challa's best friend, leader of the Border Tribe. 40 credits since 2006, including Doctor Who, Kick-Ass 2, and Get Out. If you have not seen Get Out, immediately after you listen to this podcast, you go find Get Out and you watch it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God. So good.
It's been on the list for a really long time.
It's on HBO like right now.
I already have access to it. That's not the issue. I have this finite resource called time.
Okay, well then after we're done. Oh my God. And he's going to be Bluebell in an upcoming Watership Down miniseries.
Oh. Nice.
Oh, yes. But yeah, he's also in an episode of Black Mirror. It's a really good episode. It's not one of the best ones, I think, but it's still really good. He was in Skins, which again, I guess for the UK, Skins is like, there's so many good young actors that are coming from it, like half of Game of Thrones.
But isn't that because there's only 15 actors in Britain? So they've all been in that and now they're all in Game of Thrones.
I think you're thinking of Australia where everybody comes up through Blue Heelers.
Is that the like long running daytime soap opera there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Lauren, who do we have next?
Okay. Next, we have Letitia Wright as Shuri, who is T'Challa's sister.
I want them to make a movie where she's like leading a group of like teens she pulls off the street now.
Oh my God. I want her and just a group of super genius Marvel teens.
Yep.
It would be amazing. So she has 19 credits to her name since 2011. She's British, so it's mostly British credits. Holby City, Top Boy, a movie called My Brother the Devil, an episode of Doctor Who, Face the Raven in 2015.
Ooh,
Humans, which is a TV series that I have on my watch list and haven't watched yet. An episode of Black Mirror. And she's going to be in Ready Player One.
So excited about that.
Yes. And she's also Shuri here and in Infinity War. So good on you, Infinity War, for adding more of what we want to see.
I just had a thought. What if she's the next Iron Man in the MCU?
I don't. The way they went with the comics, I don't know if they could do that.
Well, the comics are one thing, and as we've seen the movies another. We'll talk
Yeah.
about how they've kind of changed around the mythology of Black Panther from the comics to the movies, because
Right.
they've changed a bit.
That's the nice thing about the movies is, yes, they can draw from the comics, but they're not beholden to the comics. They can do their own thing. It's art. Next up, we have Winston Duke as M'Baku, the leader of the mountain tribe, the man-ape.
Ah, he's so handsome.
And a vegetarian, apparently.
Probably actually pescatarians because they have fishermen, but
Yeah.
whatever. Anyways, he has 7 credits starting in 2014, including 7 episodes of Person of Interest and 3 episodes of Modern Family.
Michelle, you get a big one here. Who do we got next?
Angela Bassett.
Who?
Who? Yeah. Like, oh God, I'm so glad she was in this movie.
Yes.
She plays Ramonda. This is one change from the comic book I do not mind. In the comic book, she's technically the stepmother, but in the film, she is T'Challa's mother and Shuri's mother. She has 91 credits, including starting from 1975, including FX, What's Love Got to Do with It? She should have won an Oscar for that. Anyway, Waiting to Exhale, How Stella Got a Groove Back, Alias, 4 episodes of that show, 21 of ER, Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, and the reason why to go see the new Mission Impossible movie, because she's in it.
I probably still won't go see it.
She was also Marie Laveau in one of the last seasons of American Horror Story that I watched.
Oh yeah, The Coven.
Yes.
Yeah.
So watching this movie, I am more upset. Back in the late 90s when they announced they were making an X-Men movie, everyone was doing their fan casting and everyone wanted Angela Bassett as Storm. And this just makes me more upset than ever that we didn't get that, because she has the strength, she has the range, she has the empathy, she has the regalness. You watch American Horror Story and she has that kind of core that, when she needs to let loose. And this just makes me sadder than ever that we never got to see that.
Yeah, but they didn't write Storm all that great. Instead of focusing on Storm and how awesome she is, I mean, she beat Cyclops without her powers. Thank you very much. And the leader of them, and everything. It would have been really frustrating because you have that talent and it would have been wasted on really crappy writing.
But what if they wrote a movie around her? I'm just imagining what could have been.
I know. Just like we want the prequels to this, so we need her for that. That'd be great.
Oh, yeah, that would. They laid the groundwork for it. Absolutely. Starting this movie off in 1992. So, yeah, it's possible. Absolutely. And I don't know if I'm going to see Mission Impossible in the theater or not. I mean, Simon Pegg's pretty good to watch too, but it's kind of, with all the films that are coming out, it's almost automatically a rental for me. I mean, it's Tom Cruise. So, yeah. Okay, Lauren, we have another small actor to talk about here.
Yeah, another Oscar winner. We have Forrest Whitaker as Zuri, who is a priest. He was the 2007 Oscar winner for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role for Last King of Scotland, which is an amazing movie, but a really brutal one. So it's not one that's really high on my rewatch list, but I'm glad I watched it. He has 124 acting credits. Yeah, all the way back from... Okay, I have to scroll way the hell down his IMDb page. 1982. Since a TV series called Making the Grade. He was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Cagney and Lacey, Hill Street Blues. Yeah, oh my God, just looking at his list of stuff that he's in. Mr. Holland's Opus. Okay, my favorite movie of his, Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai.
He was in the I don't think we're ever going to get these anymore, but these made-for-TV miniseries, because of all the stuff that is special on Hulu or Netflix or whatever.
We do get those now. They're just way better.
Yeah, they're way better. And yeah, they do tend to be more on the pay channels. But yeah, he was in North and South. He was in Good Morning Vietnam. He was in Roots, the remake that was in 2016. That was so good. And he was really good in it.
He was in Platoon in 1986.
Yeah.
That's a big movie.
Also, 6 episodes of ER.
He was in Battlefield Earth.
That was
Y'all.
such a good movie, right, guys?
It's his performance in this. I mean,
I always forget how bad that movie is until I watch it again.
exactly. It's one of those that if it's on in the morning, I'll watch it for a little while and then I'll be like, wait, what am I doing? And I'll change the channel.
It's like a car accident. You can't look away.
Yeah, he was in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, as Saw Gerrera. He was in 4 episodes of Star Wars Rebels, reprising his role as a younger version of that character. And he's in 4 episodes of Empire. This guy has had a career. He's amazing. I love him.
Just a small one. Unfortunately, we're not going to get it back unless they do prequels. So we'll see about that. And then Haley, another literally small actor.
So another white guy. This is the bad white guy. Andy Serkis playing Ulysses Klaue. He has 95 acting credits starting in 1989. He did Oliver Twist in 1999. He's probably going to be best known for playing Gollum and Smeagol in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. He was in 13 Going on 30. He's in the new series of Planet of the Apes movies as Caesar. He was also in Avengers Age of Ultron and Star Wars The Last Jedi as Snoke. So basically, if you need somebody to do mocap, you get Andy Serkis.
Yeah, he's so good at mocap and he's so good without it too.
Right. Because he was the first one to understand that you have to still be a good actor when you're doing the mocap. He kind of revolutionized the way we do it.
Yeah, I know he has like a school for mocap and he's trying to do, and I think it's coming out later this year, a version of The Jungle Book with a bunch of his students.
Oh.
We just did a Jungle Book movie though.
I know, but this is his version. It's kind of, I guess, one of his passion projects. So I'm interested in seeing what he comes out with. But it's not going to have Idris Elba as the voice of Shere Khan. So,
yeah.
And Lupita Nyong'o was in the most recent one too. So,
all right. We also had John Connie as Chakaka. Is that how you? T'Chaka?
Yeah, T'Chaka.
Which is the dad of Black Panther, basically. His 39 acting credits going back to 1974. It's all obscure stuff or stuff that I haven't personally heard about or seen. And he was in Captain America Civil War as the king, who unfortunately passed away. So he was able to come back and reprise his role in this one. So that was pretty good. Michelle, who else do we have that reprised their role from Captain America Civil War?
We have Florence Kasumba as Io. The bodyguard. Also was in Wonder Woman.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. She was also in, there was that Wizard of Oz miniseries on NBC.
Oh my gosh, that's right. She played the witch who gets shot.
Yeah.
Who looked really cool from the previews and I thought was going to be a big part of it and then dies in like the first episode.
Yeah, they did. They built her up and they used her in all the promos and then.
You know, after I saw this movie, I thought briefly, I wonder how the bodyguards would stand up against the women in Wonder Woman. And then I thought, well, it's kind of different because one uses tech and another uses like ancient martial arts. So I don't know how that would work. And I don't even know if I'd want to because they're just both amazing.
Exactly.
Lauren, you have a small part, literally small in terms of time.
Yeah. So we have our requisite Stan Lee cameo as a gambler. And I think it might have been kind of a dig at him.
How so, Lauren?
Stan Lee has kind of a reputation for taking credit for other people's creations.
Oh, so when he wanted to, I'll just take these credits and put them over here.
Yes.
Okay.
So I died in the theater when that happened.
A lot of people didn't understand his cameo there. And I actually, in the theater afterwards, there were several people saying, what was with Stan Lee's cameo? I didn't get it. And that's obviously the reason.
Like he literally taking credit.
That's great that he was able to poke fun at himself for a credit like that. So that's pretty cool. And then, Haley, you have the honor of having the last actor who we'll talk about before we get to the story. And it's literally the last actor we see in the film.
Right. We don't even actually see him in the film. We see him in one of the post-credit scenes. That's Sebastian Stan reprising his role as Bucky Barnes. He has 39 credits starting in 1994, including Hot Tub Time Machine in 2010, Black Swan, 6 episodes of Once Upon a Time, and The Martian. And he has previously played the role of Bucky Barnes in Captain America: The First Avenger, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and Ant-Man.
We will see him again in a couple of months. So exciting. So exciting.
Yay. I feel like there's one more actor we should talk about, and that is the guy that played the young version of Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, yeah.
That actor's name is Denzel Whitaker. No relation to Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, unlike the guy who played young
T'Chaka,
who is actually John Connie's son.
Yes.
This guy has no relation to Forrest Whitaker, and I think has played a young version of him before.
He's played his
movie.
son before.
Okay.
Wow.
So apparently this is a thing.
Nice. All right. Didn't know that. You learn all sorts of new things when you listen to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., especially with these ladies on. So that's great.
That's right. Because we'll read the IMDb credits for you. The IMDb trivia.
Yes, we will. We will. It's like I can't sleep, and then I read IMDb credits and trivia.
It's kind of like the new version of the phone book. Maybe not.
See, I do that instead of falling down
A
wiki
more
holes.
interesting version.
Okay.
See, I fall down the wiki holes too.
Okay, we're going to get to talk about the film now. We're going to get to talk about interesting things with the film, and we're going to start off with the wonderful costuming.
Oh my God. Okay. So, first of all, there's so much to say about the world building in this movie. And I am in love with the design and the costumes, y'all, the costumes. So, Ruth Carter is the woman who designed the costumes. And the costumes are primarily designed off of the Maasai and the Lesotho and a few other African tribes. Because the whole thing is that they located where Wakanda is. And then they're like, okay, well, what are the tribes that are kind of around here? She's also done a bunch of other, Ruth Carter has done a lot of other movies that have kind of African American history and culture. She did the costumes for Selma. She did the costumes for the 2016 Root. And in this one, she wanted to work with like really vibrant palettes. So there's like the merchant tribe that we're going to talk about the tribes in a while. The merchant tribes are inspired by the Tuareg, who are a desert tribe in the Sahara. The mining tribe is based on the Himba of Namibia. They're the ones that have the kind of red body paints, the leather headpieces. And in the Steptown district, like the big city there in Wakanda, she went to an Afropunk festival in Atlanta. Actually, pretty much all of Black Panther was shot in Atlanta, which kind of took me by surprise. But at the same time, I know they offer a lot of tax breaks. So,
Yeah, Georgia is the new Hollywood.
it kind of is. Yeah.
More of a new Toronto, I think.
So she's talking like Queen Ramonda's crown in this article is based on a Zulu woman's married hat. And in this article that we're going to link, there's some examples. Wakabi's cloak, the cloaks of the border tribe, they're based on Lesotho blankets. And there's actually some links that she's put on her Twitter. If you want to cosplay or if you just want the blanket, you can actually order them from the Lesotho who make them so that you're actually supporting, businesses. For Nakia's looks, they're based partly on the Suri of Ethiopia. For the Dora Milaje, they're based very much on the Maasai, the Turkana, and it's just some really, really fascinating little costume details. There's just such fascinating things. Like, if this movie does not get nominated for and then win Best Costume next year, I am going to flip. I'm going to run into people's houses to flip every table.
We will riot.
Yeah, this is definitely the better of the two as far as the Academy Award winning possibilities of comic books.
So the River Tribe leader, he's the guy in the green suit wearing the plate.
Right. I know that's like, it's a thing that happens in Africa, but I found it very distracting every time he was talking. Because that's all I could look at.
Yeah, I was a little bit distracted too, but I was intentionally trying to concentrate on what was being said because obviously I have a hearing problem to begin with, so I really need to concentrate. And then a little bit distracting.
Yeah, again, it's based on an actual look.
Mm.
Again, she's talking in the article about Shuri's look, which is based on trying to look fashionable, but at the same time, kind of like a lab coat. Because, she's in a lab. I love that for Killmonger, his look in the museum has been dubbed Museum Bay. I mean, to be fair, oh my God, he's like the first Marvel villain that I'm just falling for because he looks so good.
What? You didn't fall for Loki?
A little too, I don't know, greasy.
I can't believe it. Somebody that doesn't like Loki as a villain.
I like Loki as a villain. I find Tom Hiddleston incredibly attractive.
Oh yeah, Tom Hiddleston is incredibly attractive and charming.
Loki is a slimy bastard.
Oh yeah, and then M'Baku. So, for the look of the Jabari, they're based on the Dogon people of Africa who live around hillsides. And since the Jabari live in the mountains, it's kind of, so they're kind of, again, there's a reason for all of these looks. And one more costume detail that I want to pull out. Somebody pointed out that years ago, it was in like 2011, on Michael B. Jordan's Twitter, he was trying to, he tweeted at MangaStream, "What's the delay on Naruto and Bleach?" Now, suddenly, you may wonder why I'm suddenly talking about anime. All will be revealed. Somebody at Ryu, I can't pronounce this, RYUSIETAI on Twitter said, "I'm watching an old Michael B. Jordan interview and he got asked what his guilty pleasure is and he wrote anime, but scribbled it out and changed it to women." So he keeps talking about anime, just constantly talking about anime. And to the point where on the 22nd, which as we record is 3 days ago, somebody said, this 5'9" nerd lives at home and talks about anime. And he said, "First of all, I'm 6 foot and they live with me. Put some respect on my name. And Goku and Naruto are the real ones." Somebody pointed out that his, that super awesome body armor look that he has looks suspiciously like Vegeta's armor from Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that Michael B. Jordan worked with the costume designer to work in a Dragon Ball Z reference into this movie, but that is exactly what I'm saying.
Or like maybe he was like, "Hey, what if you did this and tweaked it a little bit and didn't tell anybody why he wanted to do that?"
That could also be it.
It's very
But-
textured look.
It's a really cool look. The kind of chest plate with the straps. But the thing it is 100% Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. The other day, I retweeted a picture of the comparison. He is full on going Super Saiyan in this movie. I'm just saying.
I never got into Dragon Ball Z.
Neither did I, but all my friends were, so I know way more about it than I ever.
I didn't either, but my brother was into it. So I know a lot about it, but I couldn't be into it because that was dumb, childish stuff.
I just couldn't get into the story. Like, I tried. My cousin was into it. My friends were into it. I gave it an honest to God try, and I just couldn't.
It's well after my time, so.
Same with Inuyasha. My sister is into it. I tried. I just couldn't get into it.
For the new listener,
And then I discovered Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, I love Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
I still have to watch the live action
I
version on
know.
Netflix because it looks actually decent. I refuse to watch the live action version of Death Note,
Yeah, no, that's
but I am
terrible.
giving the Full Metal Alchemist one a try.
so for the new listener to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., this is not new that Lauren geeks out about costuming. She literally looks for costuming stuff on Tumblr, online. She follows actual designers all over the place online and just loves to eat this stuff up. So
I really do. I do cosplay not very well, but I love the little world building details that good costume designers can add to a story. And yeah, this adds, Ruth Carter adds so much in just the costumes alone.
that's awesome. So we're going to move ahead with the world building here. We're going to talk about the 5 different tribes that are encompassing around Wakanda. So this was new to me. I didn't realize this. So tell me what's up with the 5 different tribes.
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but in the comics, everybody's like, oh, here's like our animal-based tribe.
Yeah.
Okay, so here they changed it to kind of by region, by purpose.
And I also really like that there's multiple tribes in this nation because that's very true to how Africa, the countries in Africa are. It's not like one tribe became a giant nation in most of the continent. It's, there's several tribes in a region and there's all sorts of tribal conflict within a nation.
Yeah, and part of the reason why there are these tribal conflicts is because when Europeans came in and decided, well, I want this chunk, it was done with no regard for, the actual tribes that were living there. So tribes that did not get along, look at Rwanda, were forced to live together. And it's caused conflict from back in the day to today. Like, seriously, just go back and look at the colonization history of Africa. It's fascinating. It's horrific. The movie kind of touches on that a little. But anyway, so let's start off with the border tribe, which is led by Wakabi. They're the ones with the awesome blankets.
Very blue.
Very blue, very cool, very awesome. They're the ones that are kind of the cover story of Wakanda. And because of that, they're the ones who their blankets are shields. It's an awesome metaphor. So they look like cattle herders from a distance, and their blankets have vibranium worn into them to conceal the shields, and it's really cool. Then we have the mining tribe. They're the ones that have the red ochre body paint. They're very red in color. Then we have the river tribe. They're the ones that has power over the waterways. So they're the ones that their leader is the guy with the plate in his lip. We have the merchant tribe. And they're the ones, again, in charge of commerce and everything. And finally, we have the Jabari. We're the ones who are not happy, again, because not everyone can live in harmony all the time. They're the ones that are not happy that Wakanda has just gone all, yay, technology, and are like, you are abandoning our old ways, our traditional ways. So they're kind of isolationist in an isolationist country. They live in the mountains of Wakanda, and they're the ones that are led by M'Baku.
And then there's the Panther tribe, which is the royal family.
And the Panther tribe, which is the royal family. because according to the mythology that we find out in the beginning of the movie, when the vibranium meteorite came down into Wakanda, they believed that the goddess Bast was the one who told them how to take advantage of the vibranium and the vibranium infused herb to give them the power to protect their people.
It's some pretty cool drugs right there.
It kind of is.
So you're talking about the ultimate cave mushrooms.
Yes, except it's a heart-shaped herb.
So I was thinking about this. So the Wakandans are really into technology, right? So you would have to think that they would have some sort of a seed safe, that the world has a big seed safe in the mountains in case, a tragedy.
Yeah,
so that
there used to be a huge one in Baghdad, and it kind of got destroyed.
No, you don't say. Well, there's one, I believe, in Sweden or Norway up there.
I thought it was Greenland or Iceland.
I thought Greenland or Iceland.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere way the hell up north.
Yeah.
Yep.
High in a mountain in a really cold, arid, dry place. So I would think that the Wakandans might do the same thing with this special herb.
I hope that they did, because
Well, they had a tradition of respect. They respect each other. And that's one of the things we're on top of when Killmonger arrives. Before that, everyone respected tradition and everyone knew how important the herb was. And I think they were just like, that will continue. The way that the way we maintain it, the knowledge that we pass on from generation to generation, that will still be respected. And we really don't have to worry about a seed vault.
Even with that respect, some blight could come through, or disease or something could happen, or some accident could occur to wipe out that one little garden of it. So I would think they had like a backup supply of it somewhere.
A secret garden?
Or a seed vault. I mean, that's exactly what they're called, by the way, seed vault. So yeah, I could see that. So I'm hoping that's the truth, because there's got to be a way to make more Black Panthers in the future. I refuse to think that this is the last Black Panther.
So I want to know, when did y'all pick up that story at the beginning was being told to baby Michael B. Jordan's character?
After the movie, when somebody told me, and I was like, oh, of course it was. I think if I had rewatched it, I would have noticed at the very beginning, but I didn't get a chance to. So somebody had to tell me, and I was like, oh.
I picked up on it when he was saying, after he'd been stabbed and everything, he's saying, my dad used to tell me about this place. And I was already really emotional then. And I just started bawling.
It's very tragic, but at the same time, I found it a little bit unrealistic that would have propelled him to the pure hate in order to want to destroy basically the entire world.
Being told that story is not what propelled him. Having his father murdered and feeling like his birthright was stolen.
Yeah, it's having his father murdered. It's growing up in this community that's just systemically unjust, because he's growing up in LA in the early 90s. You remember the LA riots?
Yeah.
Yeah. So between seeing that and knowing where there's this utopia, there's this perfect utopia that has the answers to helping to fix all of this, and they are sitting there doing nothing.
Right.
And just getting angrier and angrier. And then he joins the military and he goes around and he's seeing this stuff. And again, he's getting angrier and angrier. And he's just becoming more and more twisted up. And adding to that, there's some really good essays I've seen about the toxic masculinity of Killmonger, and how his answer is, it's not, use this to fix things. It's use this to kill everything. And he just becomes more and more twisted and angry and broken as a person. And it's just, his answer is not correct, but I can see every step of how he got there.
Yeah, one of my favorite descriptions of him is you entirely understand how he got to where he is, and that doesn't change the fact that now he is a monster. Like, understanding where the villain comes from doesn't mean that you completely sympathize with him, but you understand why he got to where he is now.
And T'Challa says that he is a monster that they've created by leaving him there.
Yeah, they abandoned.
So I guess there's no mom.
Yeah, we don't see a mom.
So not only is he, his father dies and looks like they were very close. He's abandoned by his only blood relatives left, is what I'm assuming. So he would have grown up in the foster care system. And considering how old he is, he was very unlikely to have been adopted. So he would have bounced around from foster house to foster house, and he probably would have been in certain like halfway homes.
The placement for kids of color is not good to begin with.
Right, especially boys.
Yeah.
Walk me through why they left him back, because he wasn't even an heir to the throne at that point, right?
It wasn't about like a threat to the throne. It was T'Chaka wanting to cover up the disgrace of the things his brother had done and that he had to kill his brother. And also, they didn't know that his son was aware of Wakanda and what it was.
Okay.
So the idea
Yeah.
was, if they bring this boy back, they have to say, this is my brother's son. What happened to your brother? Why isn't he back? I had to kill him because of the things that he was doing. And he didn't want that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, my brother betrayed all of Wakanda by helping our enemies steal vibranium. And he fell in love with this outsider, because that's another thing. He fell in love with an outsider, had a child with an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things. And, since we're talking about Killmonger, by the way, that's who I got in the quiz.
Okay.
I guess T'Chaka must have thought it was better to just have a lie of omission than to outright lie. Because, by just going back, he doesn't have to talk about it.
And we see it, like, as T'Challa takes over as king. There are people that think that Wakanda should be going out and doing more. I assume that was also true at the time that his father was king, that there were people within that thought he should be going out and doing more. And finding out that his brother felt like that and he was killed because of the things he was doing might have caused more divisions within the kingdom.
Yeah, like we see Nakia, at the very beginning, she's on a mission. She's helping out these women who are presumably being kidnapped by a Boko Haram-like group, because these women are all Muslim, and the area that they're in and everything. It's pretty plausible. And she's there, she's undercover, and she's helping. She's using her skills, she's using her technology and everything, and she's helping, which is it's not exactly a taboo, but it's not exactly looked highly upon, as we've seen.
It's one of those things about Wakanda. At first you're like, they should be helping everybody, but when like pretend it's actually real, and you take our history and apply it, and all of a sudden they see all this colonization around, and they know that they have to stay hidden, because if the British get vibranium, we're probably would still be under British rule, because they would have had all the weapons and all the technology, or somebody, or God forbid, the Nazis. So in a way, they had to stay hidden. And it's just one of the things I like about the movie, how it looks at all those sides.
And the thing is, this is 100%. Okay, so I remember when this movie was still in production, hearing that Ryan Coogler was basing a lot of it on how cobalt right now is being treated in Africa. So look up, it's horrifying, but look up right now, Google Cobalt Africa. The stuff that powers our phone is being mined in Africa. And it's being mined with a really, really high human cost. Because Africa is a very cobalt-rich area.
And it's really the only place that it's found.
And it's really the only place that it's found, much like vibranium here. So there, again, would be a risk. And I wonder if this is going to be part of Black Panther 2, that once people realize, oh, this is a thing that we can use to make the world better. Because again, smartphones have made the world better. But once people realize there's a thing that we can exploit, people are going to exploit. And that's one of the reasons why I can completely see why Wakanda feels safest being isolationist. And then at the other time, there's the with great power comes great responsibility. They 100% have the ability to help the people or the nations around them and the people outside the world who need their help, who need a lot of the technology that they have. Like the medical devices alone that we see in here. There's a character who, Bilbo comes in with a broken back and they're able to fix it. And I know that I've seen some people complain, oh, it's again the erasing a disability thing. But more than that, it's showing, it's just a small, simple moment of this is how advanced they are. This is how they can help the world. And this is what they're not giving to the world. I have a spinal injury. Something like that could just help me so fast and so painlessly would have saved me so many years of pain and just, even right now, a lot of pain. And if something like that existed, hell yeah, you'd have so many people lining up for it, just willing to pay any cost.
This is a seriously advanced, technologically advanced society. Not only do they have wonderful aircraft that were developed outside of the Avengers and Tony Stark and the like, but they have fast-moving maglev trains. They probably have mining devices that are just beyond anything. I would think that the arm cannon that Claw had was an adapted mining device.
He said so.
Yeah. So it's just amazing what you can do with this sort of technology. And if you equate it to like Elon Musk today with the flamethrower from his Boring Company, that was made for a reason. It wasn't made as a weapon. It was made to help them dig.
And again, one of the things that we see over and over again is stuff that we don't intend to use as weapons gets used as weapons, or vice versa, really. But I think that what we're probably going to see with Black Panther 2 is the fallout from opening up Wakanda. And it's going to be painful, but I'm really interested.
I think we're going to see a lot of that with Infinity War to begin with, or at least that's where we're going to see how pervasive it's become. And then,
I don't think we're really going to have room for it in Infinity War.
I know there's just so much in there.
But with Black Panther 2, I think we're going to have the room to just kind of stretch out and explore that.
But
and
because
I'm really looking forward to it.
Michelle got Killmonger in her quiz, we need to keep her away from all vibranium technology.
Hey.
Aww.
But I get all the vibranium.
I get to sneak around.
With your sneakers?
Yes, with my sneakers. Sure is so
that
great.
That was funny.
It was funny. And delete that footage too. So let's talk about the women. We've talked about them already, but let's talk about how pervasive they were in the film and how much of a force they really are in the Wakanda society and in the storyline.
Oh, they were the favorite part of my mom's take on this. She was like, okay, I love the movie, but I love the women so much. When you have Okoye with the spear and using the wig as a weapon, that Korean fight scene was just amazing. And then there's the car chase and she gets on top of the car and she does the spear thing again. And it's just in her morals, she's like, I defend the king, even when it's Killmonger, because that's what she's supposed to do and be. But then when, T'Challa comes back and she's just like, hey, he's not dead and he didn't yield. So he's still king. So we get to go help him now because there's that loophole. And then when she says, I'm willing to defend Wakanda at whatever cost, even if it is to kill the man I supposedly love. Oh, they're just amazing.
I saw an article somewhere and I'm looking for it now and I'm not finding it. Apparently the women in Black Panther have by percentage just a hugely more amount of more speaking roles than in most other movies, including Wonder Woman, just again by percentage of speaking roles. And that's amazing to me.
Is that by word or by time?
I don't know.
Okay.
Again, I'm trying to find the article. I'm looking, I'm not finding it. If I find it, I'll link it on my Twitter. But yeah, the women in this movie, again, and I've seen, I think it was Ryan Coogler talk about this, that women tend to be the backbone in a lot of communities, in the Black community, in the Latino community, just in a lot of communities. And there's, in this community, for all that we see of, he's the king, he's going out there, it's his mother who's the one who has to stay dignified. It's Shuri who's the one who's building him his tech. It's the Dora Milaje, who in the comics are supposed to be basically a harem from which he will choose a wife. Here, they're just his guard. And I really like that a lot more. But you have their perspective kind of evening things out. And given that, for all that, there's the Bechdel test, which isn't, it's more of a thought experiment, but it's one of those ones that goes to show how low the standards are. And the Bechdel test, for those who don't know, it's a simple 3-question or 3-step thing. Find a movie for which there is A, a woman with a speaking part, B, who talks to another named woman, C, about a topic that is not a man. And it's surprisingly hard. And in this one, it passes that with flying colors.
There was rarely a scene that only had guys in it.
Yes, which is
there were
amazing.
A few, but
because how often in your life do you go somewhere and there is, just one gender there? And yet in movies, it tends to be, in chick flicks, it's all women and they're talking about guys. Or in action movies, it's just all guys. And here, it's more like it is in real life. It's a pretty good mix. And it's people talking about what's actually going on. And I loved that.
You heard it here first, folks. Lauren has said Wakanda is real life.
Do you remember a couple months ago when someone was trying to pay money to get, I think it was for some reporter to ask Donald Trump to ask about Wakanda?
Oh my God, I remember.
Like his opinion on Wakandan politics.
I remember. It's like $300 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish that would have happened.
I know.
But I like how many of the cast are describing Wakanda as Africa uninterrupted and being able to evolve themselves culturally and socially without anyone's other values being imposed on them. And
I loved the architecture so much.
It's
without the influence of European forces and allowed to develop along their own track. This is where you get, and it's like, yeah, they have skyscrapers and stuff, but they're not, American, European style skyscrapers or Asian style skyscrapers. Like, they're African skyscrapers.
Yes. Like it's called, I think, a dogon or something. The kind of domed structure. And a lot of the buildings are topped with them. And yeah, I saw, so I was listening to Overinvested Pod's Black Panther discussion. And there was actually a film critic who's from Africa who was talking about how unrealistic he found it because he was like, the accents were all over the place. And the thing is that in Africa, a lot of areas define themselves by who colonized them. Like, was it French? Was it the Portuguese? Was it the English? And I was there was an interview with a dialogue coach that I was reading yesterday who was saying, well, we deliberately tried to give everybody a slightly different accent because, again, it's not a monoculture here. It's these different tribes and everything. And it's sort of like in the UK, it's a very small landmass, but you have that variety of different
regional accents.
Yeah, and I think they were trying to go for sort of that with Wakanda.
Sorry, you've got 5 tribes that you're starting from. So there's your 5 main dialects, but then they've got different individuals have different amounts of interaction with the other tribes and different amounts of interaction with the outside world and different cultures in the outside world. So you could see a lot of different dialects in a small region.
Yeah. And the whole, what would have happened? I love when Shuri sees Bilbo, she calls him colonizer. And it's just, again, it's a nice little moment of.
He takes a second look, but at the same time,
he's like, well, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, you're not wrong. But it's especially funny because he's a Brit playing an American. So it's like, it's double true.
And then speaking of Shuri, I mean, she's basically Q for T'Challa, and then she's like, pick a necklace, and he's like, oh, I'll do this one, and then the suit comes all at once because she's like, thinking about your mask and putting your mask on and taking it off. That's just so outdated. That's so outdated.
Who do you think you are, Tony Stark?
Yeah. It needs to be instantaneous. And then she's like, kick it. And then he kicks it across and she's like, well, I didn't want you to do it, but okay, whatever. And then she's like, now kick it again. And it throws him across the room. And she's like,
recording it.
delete footage.
I love. Okay, first of all, their interaction is 100% sibling. It's so good. It is so good. Shuri is just so wonderful in this. When they're like, okay, does anyone else want a challenge? And she raises her hand and everyone's like, what? And she's like, this course is uncomfortable. Can we go home?
And as a viewer, you're like, something's got to happen here. So you're like, okay. And you're like, what? That's not good.
And then, of course, the Jabari come in, and that's where the drama is. But every time Shuri does anything, she's just so wonderful. In the moments where she's serious, it's just like, oh, no. But then she's the young one with a sense of humor.
Do you think her near-death experience at the end will change her? Because she was really close to dying.
I mean, of course that changes a person, but in terms of writing, because if this was real life, I'd say yes. But because we're writing a character and because we need somebody to be a foil for T'Challa, I think she's still going to maintain that sense of humor. She's still going to be the science person.
Yeah, I think she's more likely to be changed by her experiences doing the Wakandan outreach in LA.
And speaking of changes in Shuri, so in the comics, Shuri is the one who's much more kind of mystical minded, and T'Challa's the scientist. But the writers wanted to change it around so that Black girls could have a good role model for STEM. And I have seen so much positive feedback from this.
I liked it too, but in terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what does that do to the science bros?
Now they have a science sis, and she's amazing.
It's not a boys club anymore.
So what do you call them? No, I mean, it's just a label thing. What do you call them?
Science Squad.
Okay.
Yes.
Done.
Boom. Mic drop.
Boom.
Haley can go home now.
I'm already home. We're doing this from my home.
One of my favorite things are people going, okay, now Shuri needs to meet up with Peter Parker, and they just need to be science geeks.
Yes.
In something.
I've seen so many good comics on Tumblr about them meeting up and just ragging on T'Challa and Tony Stark together.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Civil
high
War.
School age super geeks
Infinity
unite.
War. Yeah.
I want it.
So we get a little Star Trek Voyager in here because we have vision quests that occur when they take the drug or not take the drug and so on and so forth. So yeah, Star Trek Voyager has infiltrated Black Panther.
Yeah, so every time I see this, I think of Lion King. Because first of all, that tree looks like a tree from The Lion King.
Yep.
Which also there's a Lion King shirt. It looks like the drawing that Rafiki made of Simba, but it's with the Black Panther kind of accoutrements. My sister wore it to her Black Panther screening with her boyfriend, and very cool. But So when T'Challa goes, he's there and the sky is beautiful and bisexual. And there's this tree full of panthers that are presumably the previous kings / Black Panthers. And his dad climbs down and then turns back into his dad from a panther. And they have this wonderful moment. When Killmonger takes it, he's back in his apartment in LA from when he was a kid. And that moment, again, made me just so sad because instead of this peaceful moment like T'Challa had, it's this very, again, because Killmonger is angry, it's this very bittersweet, angry moment where his dad, who's played by Sterling K. Brown, who is amazing, and he just won like a Best Actor Emmy.
Yes.
That he fully deserved. He deserves it for everything. He's just so good. He's so good. But here, his performance is just it's so bittersweet. And he has such a small role in the movie, but he just earns every second of it.
So talking about another little small...
I'm sorry, but I just needed to bring up that kind of symbolically, the beautiful sky of Wakanda is outside. It's kind of closed off. It's walled off from Killmonger. He's separated from it. And that also just tugged at my heart. He's an outsider to this culture that he wants to belong to.
So another really small part of the movie was interesting because if you are a fan of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings movies, you never really get a chance to actually see the actors face to face of Bilbo and Gollum. Well, now you do in the interrogation room. So you have
we have the Tolkien white guys
facing off against each other on the screen for the first time, even though they've been in many movies together before.
So good. And again, the acting here is so good. Andy Serkis driving the doubts into Martin Freeman's head, and then exploding happens.
So a big thing that happens here is you actually are getting what we will call a Wakanda civil war occurring. This is a big thing.
That hurt me so much
I
seeing
know.
them fighting.
When Killmonger comes and he has that idea of we need to go help people, I was like, okay, that's a good idea. But then Killmonger is like, I want to do it this way.
They're like, hey, let's commit genocide.
No,
And then he lied.
No, he does it the American way, which is the CIA way.
Mm-hmm.
And it really goes to show you he is a product of the American war machinery.
Yeah, he's a product of his system.
Yeah.
And again, we get a very political film. We get Martin Freeman just kind of casually dropping, we destabilize. He's part of our CIA part that destabilizes governments that we don't like. Like, this is a movie kids are going to see. This is reminding me kind of Clone Wars with baby's first friendly fire.
So I was very much able to believe that they would grudgingly accept an outsider. He is an outsider. He's not really one of them. But they would accept him because he had won the challenge. That is how they determine who their leader is. I had a very hard time believing, though, that they would be willing to turn on their own after he being so brutal to them and T'Challa came back.
So I've been discussing this Scott and I have kind of been discussing this on and off. Scott has a hard time, again, being like, okay, well, these people, I don't see these people being so accepting of an outsider who's doing all this, kind of making a mockery of their culture. And the way I'm thinking it, first of all, for them, this is divine right. This was Beth handing down their traditions for as long as they can remember.
And that's the part I bought, is that they would accept him then because of the divine right thing.
The fact that there's also a faction in there that thinks, okay, let's go out and do stuff, also kind of makes me think, okay, there'd be at least a percentage of the population who'd go along with it. And then also, again, with this being a very political movie with some words that are said at the end of the movie, this is kind of a little bit what we're seeing now in America, with people being like, no, people wouldn't possibly turn on each other. And then people are being really horrible to their neighbors. People are saying stuff and doing stuff that we didn't think they'd do before. So I think this is a much more extreme example of stuff like that. This is the stuff that we see kind of throughout history of that sort of extreme boiling under the surface stuff that you never think you're going to see until it happens, and just kind of wanting an excuse for it.
And one of the things that helps Killmonger is that he kills Claw. And T'Challa promised W'Kabi that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to, bring Claw back. And he doesn't. And then here comes Killmonger with Claw. And W'Kabi's like, this guy did what T'Challa said he was going to do. And it automatically bonds him to Killmonger because he gets that respect right away.
I was wondering why Killmonger killed Claw and his gang. I didn't really see why that happened. I mean, after
because that was his plan all along.
Yeah, this is, from what we're seeing, this is basically Wakanda's Bin Laden. He's the guy that caused this huge disruption in their society and killed some of their people doing it.
Because Killmonger's long game plan from the beginning was to get into Wakanda and become king. And Claw was just the pawn he used to get there. He never had any intention of working with him long term.
Yeah. He was, again, he's the pawn that needed to be sacrificed. Or I guess in this case, maybe like the bishop or the queen.
And then why did Killmonger not kill T'Challa to begin with? I mean, he threw him down, but...
He thought he did.
Yeah, he was trying to.
I would make sure he was dead before I went. I mean,
You throw a guy off of a however huge cliff, we couldn't see the bottom. Like, you expect him to be dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he probably had people looking for the body and stuff too.
He knows he's in a comic book movie, though.
I know, it's that one trope. It's that one trope of people going off the big, cliff into the water, like The Fugitive or whatever. Oh, they're dead.
I'm just saying, once you have people in costumes with superpowers running around, you got to start looking for the body because they're going to come back. But assuming that he thinks this is real life and not a comic book movie, I'm assuming that he didn't have time to look for the body himself because he had king stuff to do, had to secure his rule. He knows, again, he's in the CIA. He knows how this stuff works. You have to consolidate power as soon as possible. Again, shock and awe, not give him time to think.
Just remember, folks, when Lauren becomes your ruler, that she will be busy doing queen stuff.
Oh, I'm not going to be the ruler. I'm going to be the Grand Vizier. I am not going to put myself in the spotlight. That has always been my plan. When I was a little kid, and I'm so 100% serious about this, I was all about the Disney princesses and stuff for a little while. And then I was like, well, first of all, princesses have no power, so I'm going to be the queen. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, royalty is a target, though. I want to be the power behind the throne so that I have all the power and I am not the one in the spotlight because people...
Okay, Jafar.
I know, right? And I'm like 8. Then I start thinking, like, what is wrong with me?
So you're Tyrion.
I guess so.
All right.
I'm short, too.
There you go. One and the same, Tyrion and Lauren. Have you ever seen them together before?
You have not.
I've never seen them in the same place.
Yeah, there
Right.
you go.
I do drink and I do know stuff.
Also true.
There you go. All right, we're running extremely long. We have the post-credit and mid-credit scene to talk about, but before we get there, is there anything else? Yeah.
So, in the scene where they're actually fighting the Civil War, I had such a good audience with this. So it's opening night, the audience is full, and I'm sitting next to this couple on a date. And the scene where W'Kabi's rhino charges Okoye and then it stops short and licks, and he's like, she's like, don't make me kill you or whatever. The woman next to me is like, drag his ass back to the sunken place. And we all just died. It was so good. P.S. See Get Out.
Okay, I did like the car scene where the car came apart after the hit from the claw cannon, and then the one woman that was driving just kept on going.
Yeah, Nakia's just there in the seat.
Yeah.
And Okoye is there with her spear, and they're just there like, well, that happened. The car chase scene's so good.
And they don't say, yeah, it was really good. And they don't really say anything until the agent Ross comes by. And he's like, get in the car, put the staff in the trunk. Yeah, she's not putting the staff in the trunk, dude. Whatever.
She's like, excuse you.
Exactly. All right. Anything else that we need to talk about, Michelle?
Well, I wanted to talk briefly about one of my favorite characters, and that's M'Baku, who challenges T'Challa for, the throne, but T'Challa, gets him in that grip, and he's like, you know what, yield, your people need you. And he does yield. And then Ramona goes to him and it's like, we need your help. Here's the seed, become the Black Panther. And he could have. But instead, he takes them to T'Challa, who they found him. And it really says a lot about him as a person. And then, of course, he had that wonderful line of, I will feed you to my children. Oh, no, we won't. We're vegetarians. It's just a great character. I hope we see more of him in either Black Panther 2 or in his own movie.
He's confirmed in Infinity War. And I was just saying, apparently, I read an interview and he kind of worked with the other Jabari actors and based a lot of their mannerisms on the frat that he was in college.
This is such a better version of this character than you usually see.
100%. Usually it's kind of a racist caricature.
Yes. And he's always going after the throne.
Yeah, and the character in the comics is called the Man-Ape. Super racist.
Yep.
So I am so glad with what they did with him here. I mean, the actor's amazing. The character is so fun. Just give Winston Duke so many more roles. And apparently he and Lupita Nyong'o were in acting school together, or they weren't.
They went to Yale together.
They went to Yale together. And they went to go see Avengers together. And we're like all excited.
This is such a good movie. Wouldn't it be awesome if we got to be in one of these movies?
I know they are. I'm so happy for them.
Haley, you got anything last on the story here?
I don't think so. I think we've covered about everything. It's so good. I love it so much. So much.
Yes.
Indeed. I'm glad I got to finally go see it. All right. So we had two scenes. We had a mid-credit scene, which I don't necessarily know if that needed to be a mid-credit scene, but it was, of T'Challa going to the UN and basically offering to be part of the world. And the world's like, what do you have to offer us?
Yeah, what does your third world country have to offer us?
T'Challa just smiles.
Oh, children.
So you haven't seen their Air Force One? Come on.
I think it makes sense because the film ends in Oakland with that kid going, who are you? And it's kind of nice to have some credits and then have the UN scene, because then it kind of feels like some time has passed and it's just sort of like a logical progression.
That was pretty cool. It's like, oh, is that your ship? Who are you? It's like, if somebody rolls in with a cool plane or a cool car or whatever, you're like, hey, how's it going, man? I want to be like you. What do you do? And yeah, it's like just smirking. So yeah.
Yeah. And again, their outreach again starts with the children, because it's cheesy, but children are our future. So yes,
they are indeed. The older you get, and this beard is getting grayer, the more that is actually true. So we also get a post-credit scene, and if you didn't stay for it, shame on you. It's a Marvel movie. You should know.
Kids these days.
Yeah. So, and it was, I think it's safe to say it's Lauren's favorite character in the MCU.
One of them. So we have Shuri meeting up with Bucky again. Bucky's out of being frozen. We find out from the Prelude to Avengers comic that was released a few weeks ago that she's been working on kind of helping undo some of the trigger words and everything. And so here he's wearing, kind of more traditional clothing instead of his usual gear. He's got his hair in a half ponytail, kind of looking like I did in 8th grade. And he gets referred to as the White Wolf, who is a comics character who was T'Challa's adopted brother from America, who's a white guy.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be filling that role in the MCU. but I think it was a nice little nod to the comics. And I was listening to We Hate Movies' take on Black Panther, which they loved, by the way. And I do love that they're like, oh my God, it would be so great if Bucky comes back in Infinity War and he's like that guy who goes away for a semester abroad and comes back. And he's just wearing Wakandan clothes and trying to talk with an accent. And everyone's like, Bucky, no.
Yeah, that would totally be
really
me.
into Wakandan music right now. Bucky, no.
Yeah, they had to do that on screen, though, because not everybody reads the comics, and they had to just explain, because you can't take that screen time away from Infinity War. Like, we're talking, what, 65 at one point in time anyway, different main characters in Infinity War. You can't take time and say, okay, Bucky, we're going to go through this storyline. So you just had to do something before. And they knew that Black Panther was going to come out before Infinity War, so they knew they could throw a post-credit scene in. It wouldn't be the first time that Bucky's been in a post-credit scene. So that
He's in a lot.
Yeah. Burning those appearances, but it's worth it. So worth it. I'm not even going to rate the movie because we all enjoyed it. We all liked it. I can't wait to see it again. It's just not going to be anytime soon because we got so much to watch coming up that I will definitely have to wait for the Blu-ray. But has anybody else actually playing? Lauren, you mentioned that you were going to go back and see it.
I'm going to try to go see it with some friends. I don't know when, but we're going to try and go see it.
Okay. So if you do, let everybody know what you thought of it second time around, if there's anything else you picked up, and we'll just go from there. So I know you ladies saw it like a week and a half ago or a week ago or so, but I saw some trailers, and we talk about trailers every time. Just going to go through them real quick because we are running really long. So I saw the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I saw the first one on Blu-ray. I think we're going to see this next one on Blu-ray just because there's so much else out, but this is going to be a big movie this summer. We talked about how none of us are going to go see Mission Impossible Fallout. Red Sparrow, which is totally a Black Widow thing for me. I just, wow, it's Jennifer Lawrence in a Black Widow-like role, and it looks like it's going to be good, but I just don't know if I'm going to get time to see it. What do you ladies think?
That would probably be to see it later. I'm not going to see that in theaters. It seems very similar to Salt and
Atomic Blonde. Yeah.
Yep. Like, it seems like something I've seen before. So
it's trying very hard to be Black Widow, but
yeah.
I could see her as Black Widow, but I mean, we already have one. So also Uncle Drew, which is just, fun basketball movie. Ready Player One, which I saw more of the storyline for that. Just can't wait to see it. It's Steven Spielberg attached to this film. It's just going to be great. Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is the first time I saw this full trailer. It might have aired during the Super Bowl, but I didn't see all of the Super Bowl. So really looking forward to that one, especially, watching them run on knives that are being thrown. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, the Solo film. No, I'm not talking about somebody doing a film solo. I'm talking about Han Solo, the Star Wars film. That is going to be awesome. I am probably going to try it with as many movies as they're out this year. That might be one that I see multiple times. I'm just so into that. That's going to be awesome.
Don't you mean Solo? We only care about Lando Calrissian.
Pretty much.
Star Wars story.
We just came here to see Donald Glover as Lando.
Yeah, who, by the way, we forgot to mention, is responsible for most of the jokes and punch-ups for the Black Panther script. Thank you, Donald Glover.
Thank you for being part of the MCU. Thank you for worming your way into the MCU the way that you have.
He was also in Spider-Man, don't forget.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he wormed his way into that one too. And he wanted to be, was it Miles Morales that he wanted to be?
Well, everyone wanted him to be Miles Morales.
Oh, okay.
Because the character is sort of based on the whole make Donald Glover Spider-Man campaign after somebody photoshopped him in years and years ago.
That's never worked before. Of course it has. All right. So we usually go through quotes, and none of us actually took notes, but we do have the ability to get on the internet. So we're going to go over some of our favorite quotes. So we're going to start with Haley, since she does quotes all the time. So Haley, what kind of quotes you got?
What I can remember off the top of my head, another broken white boy to fix.
That was awesome in relation to Bucky. And if you hadn't seen...
Well, it was actually about
Bilbo.
Martin Freeman. Bilbo. whose character name I do not remember.
Everett Ross.
Well, she says, she says another white boy to fix, meaning Bucky's the first white boy to fix.
Yeah.
He comes along and now he's like, another white boy she needs to fix.
Yeah.
And if by some reason you walked into this not ever seeing another Marvel movie, you wouldn't have gotten that reference full blown. But I actually saw the movie with another person that had not seen the Bucky Barnes previously. And so he even laughed. So that was kind of fun. Anyway, Lauren, what do you got for a quote?
Okay, T'Challa, we can still heal you. Killmonger. Why? So you can lock me up? Nah, just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from ships because they knew death was better than bondage. That hit me so hard.
And then he pulled the sword out of his...
Like, again, he was such, like...
Did it make you think of the scene in American Gods with Mr. Nancy?
Yes, I was about ready to mention that. Oh my God, that is one of the best monologues ever put on television. It was done by... It was Orlando Jones played Mr. Nancy.
He's coming to Comic Palooza this year, y'all.
I saw him at San Diego Comic-Con. He was amazing.
I can't wait.
Okay, Michelle, what do you have for a quote?
Did he freeze like an antelope in headlights?
Making fun of their king. All right. Haley, is that it, or do you have another one?
Is this Wakanda? No, it's Kansas.
Shuri. Awesome with the quotes.
Having been to Kansas, I think she might have been lying.
One more.
Okay, what do you got?
What are those?
Oh, his mandals.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe they got a meme in there and pulled it off. That's brilliant.
Well, they pulled off the sneakers. Yeah.
Look it up, kids, if you don't know that meme. All right.
Michelle, do you got a last one?
No, I'm good.
All right. Anybody else? Are we good?
That's probably enough.
All right. So next time we're going to be back with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we're going to be talking about all the comforts of home. Season 5, episode 11. I can't wait for this show to start back up after the Olympics are over. By the way, congratulations to all the international athletes that have persevered over the last...
And USA men's curling. Woo!
Yeah. Out of nowhere. What happened? Geez, I can't believe that.
Miracle on Ice Part 2.
Yeah.
Woo!
The ultimate beer sport, by the way. Curling.
That's bowling.
USA women's hockey.
Yes.
Booyah.
I watched
Booyah.
that. It was those
Sudden death penalty shots. Woo!
Also, figure skating in general. Yeah. Talking about virtue and more. Yeah.
Toe picked. Come on, you guys don't get the cutting edge reference? Toe picked? Okay. Go watch The Cutting Edge. It's a great film. Back from the 90s. But more Kelly. It's great. Okay. So that's what we're going to do next time. In the meantime, Lauren, if somebody wants to go out into the Gonna Geek Network, which we are a part of, and listen to some other great geeky content, what would you recommend for them this week?
All right. If you want to venture out into the wilds of Gonna Geek, you can try Gallifrey Public Radio. We currently have episode 273, The 29 Voyages of Gallifrey 1. This week, Kier and Haley are freshly, or not so freshly, returned from their journey to the center of the replica TARDIS. They talk about their experiences at the 29th Gallifrey 1, North America's largest Doctor Who convention. And by Haley, we mean Haley.
This one, right here.
From Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah. So when do you think it's going to become the biggest Doctor Who convention?
It might already be. I'm not actually sure where a bigger one might be.
That's what I was thinking. Like in the UK, I mean, they're huge fans. That's where the show is based, but I don't know.
It is. I just Googled biggest Doctor Who convention, and Gallifrey 1 is the largest and longest running annual Doctor Who convention.
I know. I just know that's how it's billed as North America's largest Doctor Who convention, but it doesn't surprise me that it is actually just the biggest.
Okay, I could see that.
The tickets, I mean, if you want to go to next year's, the tickets sell out on the day that they become available. So get in
Reminds me a little bit of San Diego Comic-Con.
Not quite that bad, but like if you want it, you've got to be prepared. The hotel sells out before you can click on the link.
Whereas SDCC, if you want it, you might not get it because they have the whole lottery system and stuff like that, which just chafes me coming if I want to come from the other side of the country. Anyway, so that's it for this part, the main part of the episode. We're going to get on into the weekly Marvel news in a second, but thank you very much for staying with us so far, and just stay tuned as we move on into the news.
All right. We're starting with a little Marvel versus DC information. Mark Miller has an interesting theory on why Marvel movies do better than DC movies.
So first of all, I would like to state my opinion once again that Mark Millar is a hack. Well, okay, he has stated that he only writes comics now as movie pitches. And I would like to quote a Grant Morrison quote. Grant Morrison was his mentor and a writer that I very much respect. There's a chance that I will run into Mark Millar in Glasgow, and I hope I will be doing 100 miles an hour when I'm doing it.
Ooh, burn.
Yeah. So his opinion is that the DC characters aren't cinematic. He says that at Marvel, that the heroes are based around the personalities of the characters, and at DC, they're based around the superpowers. People will slam me for this, but I think the evidence is there. We've seen great directors, great writers, great actors, tons of money thrown at them, but the films aren't working. I don't agree. I think that the problem is, in my opinion, that DC saw that Batman Begins work, and they have since tried to make everything way too grim dark instead of actually trying to find somebody who can focus on the characters. Because look what happened when you made Wonder Woman. You found somebody who understands that Wonder Woman is about a character who is about love. The whole, if you ever go and read about, read The Secret History of Wonder Woman. When she was created, her creator said, the thesis is that Wonder Woman is about love. When you get that, you get a good movie. When you get Zack Snyder being like, I want to try to make this weird Christ metaphor with a lot of explosions and desaturated colors, you don't get as good of a movie. What you need to do is get people who understand the characters. You can get a good Superman movie. You got a good Superman movie back in the 70s. You can get a good Batman movie. We got Batman the Animated Series. We've gotten several good Batman movies.
I've always thought the problem with the DC movies is that they're made by people that don't understand the characters they're trying to put on film.
Exactly. You can find the corniest... Okay, there's been discussions with writers that I've seen. You can find the corniest premise and make it into something that works. The Codex Alera books by Jim Butcher were made because of that bet. They bet, take the Roman Empire and Pokemon and make a book series. And those books are pretty decent.
Yep.
Again, you can take a garbage premise and make something good out of it. The thing is, you have to find people who actually care, and you have to find people who know the character.
So if you're new to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., you might not know, Michelle and I do a podcast on Arrow, which is a DC property called Starling Tribune. And Haley, you've done a podcast on The Flash called Crimson Comet before. So we've got a little bit of DC experience on this podcast, and none of us really want to see DC fail. So this is not a Marvel versus DC thing. This is just, obviously Marvel has had more success than DC has. And I've railed against Suicide Squad. I've had issues with Batman versus Superman. It should have easily been an over $2 billion movie, easily, with those two characters, and you add Wonder Woman into it, and it was not. So I think that eventually DC will get it right. I just don't know if it's going to be after this wave of comic book movie hysteria is over with or not. I don't know.
Yeah, again, I like DC right now. They are doing so well with their comics. I'm liking DC Comics more than I'm liking Marvel Comics right now. And I say this as somebody who grew up with Marvel Comics and identifies very strongly with Marvel Comics.
Yeah, every week when I go to the comic book store, I'm more excited to go to the DC section versus the Marvel section. The Marvel section, it's just like, what do I have to pick up to stay current this week? And DC is like, I can't believe the story is out right now.
You should never feel like you are being held hostage by the entertainment that you're consuming.
Right. Well, speaking of jumping on places for Marvel Comics, they're teasing a fresh start for their superhero comic book line.
So they just had one.
Like 6 years ago?
No, just a couple months ago.
No, they just did the war thing. That was like a year ago, right?
That was like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they canceled a bunch of stuff. They tried to start new stuff. This stuff is not selling. The only thing since they've redone their thing that has been a hot seller was actually this week with the Spider-Man book. They sold out immediately, and immediately you had to go online to get $15-20 per copy with the Amazing Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, but the Amazing Spider-Man copy. That's the only one since they've started.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. It was last fall. It was Marvel Legacy. And it got a lot of criticism then for renumbering stuff. And
yeah, it's like, where do you go? Where do you start? Where do you continue? I had no idea. I just went to the guys that like, guys, tell me what's going on, because I don't know.
Yeah, it's so a few years ago, a bunch of people gave DC crap for doing a rebirth. Well, they did Rebirth. Wait.
Yeah, it was the 52.
Yeah, it was
new
New 52, and then it was Rebirth.
Yeah.
Rebirth has been really good for DC.
It has.
Marvel then did Marvel Now back in 2012.
After the all new, all different.
Yeah. And then they did Marvel Legacy. And now they're doing a fresh start, starting in I think, May. But I'm so tired. I know it's just going to be more of the same. They're going to be doing more crossovers that I'm not going to want to read. They've canceled so many of the books that I was reading and that I did like.
They're going to ruin everybody's comic organization because they're going to start at number ones again.
Yeah, I'm so frustrated right now, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they get it right this time so we can have something to step off from and keep. But yeah, I'm
sure it's going to be the way it always is like a few books are going to have a good story going because they're going to have a good creative team, and it's not going to have anything at all to do with the fact that it's being rebooted.
Yeah.
It's just, if you put good creative people on a project, they do good things, and there will be some others that have people that aren't really interested in what they're working on.
And then the fact that a lot of their good creative people are leaving Marvel right now does not have me very confident.
So, Michelle, I know you pick up a couple of books every week. Do you pick up any Marvel books?
No, this is why I quit Marvel. I got tired of their renumbering and their crossovers. And I've actually talked to my local comic book shop owner, and he hates it because he has to cancel the way it works is they have to order like 3 months in advance. And so he's like, okay, I ordered these particular numbered books, but then Marvel has changed it. So then he has to cancel, and then he has to reorder, and it becomes very difficult. And then some of his customers have gotten angry because they don't understand the changes. And then sometimes things slip and he misses a reorder because of the numbers, and it gets confusing, and he tries to keep up with it. And it's just a big mess.
Yeah, by the way, if you ever want to be confused and frustrated, look up how comic book shops have to order comics.
There's a reason they want you to get yourself on a pull list.
Yeah. They're back in the early 90s, I want to say. Up until the early 90s, there used to be a few different distribution sources, and then Diamond monopolized it. Yeah, it's...
Which is good and bad. I mean, it's good that they only have to order from one place, but it's bad that Diamond is control of everything.
Yeah, Diamond controls how they do it.
There's constantly shipping problems. There's printing issues that they don't notice until the books get to the stores, and then they don't have the issues. They have to pull the issues off. And
to get onto Diamond's list, even there's issues. Like, just talk to indie comics people. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy news.
Yeah.
There's a new Jessica Jones trailer that's out. So Jessica Jones is coming out in what?
2 weeks?
Week and a half? Again,
Yep.
March 9th. And this trailer is called Her Way. And it's about 2.5 minutes long. We find out she's going to anger management. I guess Luke Cage is making an appearance this season. And
Really?
from the looks of this trailer, at first I was like, oh, this is stock footage from last season. No, it's not.
As friends, you think? Or
I
you
don't
think there's a little bit
know.
more? I don't know.
I don't
Luke-
know.
I don't think I feel comfortable with it being more than friends because Luke and Night Nurse got it going on.
I mean, I'm just saying if everybody involved is okay with it.
Okay. We've been down this path before.
Yeah. We see Trish taking a little more of an active role. It's the whole moving forward thing. I'm very interested. And we see what's his name? Dime Store Captain America, who flipped out last season, whose name I forgot. Flipping out again.
Oh, yeah. The cop.
Yes.
Isn't he dead?
No.
Yeah.
Remember they were giving him like pills at the hospital?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, which cop?
The one that Trish was seeing that turned out to be...
Yeah, I don't remember him at all.
I remember him. It's just that I always think of him from the comics where he's like a Dime Store Captain America with the flag tattooed on his face.
Oh, that's right.
Again, comic adaptations to TV or movies, sometimes change is good.
It's like, what's his name in Venture Brothers? I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, Sergeant Hatred.
Sergeant Hatred, yeah. All right.
More good news.
So Ryan Coogler is sending fans a thank you note.
I saw this. It was great.
Is so sweet. It's on the Black Panther Twitter account.
I actually saw it on Instagram. It was retweeted or reposted by the Marvel Instagram account.
I am struggling to find the words to express my gratitude at this moment, but I will try. Filmmaking is a team sport, and our team was made up of amazing people from all over the world who believed in this story. Deep down, we all hoped that people would come to see a film about a fictional country on the continent of Africa, made up of a cast of people of African descent. Never in a million years did we imagine that you would all come out this strong. It still humbles me to think that people care enough to spend their money and time watching our film. But to see people of all backgrounds wearing clothing that celebrates their heritage, taking pictures next to our posters with their friends and family, and sometimes dancing in the lobbies of theaters, often moved me and my wife to tears. For the people who bought out theaters, who posted on social about how lit the film would be, bragged about our awesome cast, picked out outfits to wear, who stood in line in theaters all over the world, all before even seeing the film, to the press who wrote about the film for folks who hadn't seen it and encouraged audiences to come out, and to the young ones who came out with their parents, with their mentors, and with their friends. Thank you for giving our team of filmmakers the greatest gift, the opportunity to share this film that we poured our hearts and souls into with you. Sincerely, Ryan Coogler. P.S. Wakanda Forever.
That was definitely a heartfelt thank you to fans. And I can't remember when this was posted. Was it Sunday? Was it Monday? It was like before the weekend was over.
It was posted on February 20th. So on Tuesday, at least on the Twitter account.
So it was after the weekend. Okay. So awesome. Ryan, you did a great job. I'm looking forward to what's coming at us next. How good of a job did Ryan do, by the way?
I put this in here. Black Panther is making a boatload of money. It is set to earn another $108 million in its second week. This is the second highest second weekend gross in box office history, only behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which was $149.2 million. It's only a 46% drop from Black Panther's $201 million opening weekend. The film is expected to have earned $400 million domestically by the end of this weekend, making it already a high-grossing film than any Marvel Studios film released in the past year, surpassing even the $389 million earned by Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Oh, yeah, it is a phenomenon, and I'm so glad it's been successful because then we get more like this.
Yes.
We had Deadpool come out 2 years ago. Was that 2 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the same kind of time spot. and I don't think there was anything last year, and then this. So it is turning
Wait, wasn't
into
Logan around this time last year?
That's right.
it was in March.
Okay, but it was after. I'm thinking Valentine's Day is
Okay.
what I'm thinking, is that long weekend that Americans usually get around that time for President's Day. So yeah, it's turning out to be a movie powerhouse time period for comic book fans, and looking forward to them stoking that up next year. I'm gonna have to take a look and see on the schedule what's coming up for next year. All right, that's it for the news this week. We're going to move on into some feedback.
So first we have from Twitter, Mr. Pericletes. Did the Grandmaster know about apartments.com? So have you seen this clip? You remember when Thor moved in with Daryl on the extras for, I think it was Civil War? It was like what Thor was doing instead of being in Civil War.
Right. It was him with Gary or whatever.
With Daryl.
yeah.
So now in the extras for Thor Ragnarok, we are getting Grandmaster moving in with Daryl.
Poor Daryl.
Yeah. Mr. Pericletes linked us to a clip on YouTube. It's amazing and you need to watch it.
Looking forward to it.
We've also had our friend Andy Migna tweeting at us while he's been rewatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from the very beginning.
Has he been rewatching from the beginning, or has he just been picking and choosing?
He's been rewatching from the beginning. I've been following just every episode that he's been rewatching. I haven't been rewatching them yet because I've been working on an audiobook, and with all my spare time, I've been binging one day at a time.
I thought he said he was going back to watch some key episodes, and just so happens like the first 5 were the first 5 episodes, but okay, I could be mistaken on that.
Maybe that's what he's doing, but I know he's been rewatching like episode 1, just all the way like back at the beginning, and it's just wonderful. It's all memories.
It was, and we just did the pilot episode for our 200th episode 30 episodes ago. So if you want to check out our takes on the pilot episode after getting this far into the series, go back to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode 200, and you will listen to us gush over the pilot.
And our friend Born to Eat Bacon tweeted us, have you guys seen this? And it's a link to YouTube, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hilarious bloopers and gag reel. It's about 15 minutes because it's from like every season, but it's so funny. I was just watching little bits of it while I was gathering stuff, like links for the show. And it's so fantastic.
Looking forward to seeing that. I know we've watched some as the seasons have progressed, but I've never seen them all together. So I need to go watch that. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So
if you haven't checked it out, the link will be in the show notes. Ladies, we are extremely long, so it is time to...
Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you want to talk about it. But we are going to close this one out, and in order to do that, we're going to get on our war rhinos and ride them on out. Want to thank you, listener, you watching this on YouTube right now. Thank you very much for stopping by. We really appreciate it. We do this for you, and we do this for you to get back with your comments back to us, just so to geek out about the Marvel Universe. So thank you for joining us on this ride.
Thank you so much for everybody who listens to us, who tags us on Twitter. We love you guys so much. We love hearing from you. We want to hear your opinion on Black Panther. Tell us things that you noticed from it, things you love from it, your theater experiences, just whatever. We love you guys. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone who downloads us from Apple Podcast.
Ooh, gets it right.
Yeah, got that one right.
They both still exist, by the way. It's a whole marketing thing that Apple's doing. Whatever.
But it's Apple Podcast that you have listened to this on, or perhaps Spotify or whatever other podcatcher you have.
Yeah, you could still listen to it on iTunes. That's what I don't get. It's just that they want to market Apple Podcasts. iTunes still exists, at least for now.
True. But thank you. However you have gotten this, legally. Please get it legally.
Are people illegally downloading our free podcast?
If you're doing that, please let me know. I want to know the story behind that. That's awesome.
Thank you to everyone who is pirating this podcast. I feel like we really made it big. Like, you could get this for free from a variety of sources, including GonnaGeek.com, where you'll find all of the great Gonna Geek content. But you have gone out of your way to find, for some reason, that somebody is illegally uploading this to, I don't know, is the Pirate Bay still a thing?
The Pirate Bay is still a
Downloaded it
thing.
there.
No idea.
Please, if somebody does that, if somebody illegally uploads this to like a torrent site and then other people download it, tell us about that. Call our voicemail line, 844-843-2871. That's 844-843 bus one. I don't know, 844 the bus one. Call us and tell us all about how you're illegally pirating this podcast.
This free podcast.
I don't know what made me say that.
So much hard for you if you're doing that, because that's so much more work than just getting it from iTunes or Android.
Give us a review and then give us a review on torrents.
On the torrent site? Yeah, that's great.
Yes,
And
upload
take
the torrent, please.
take a screenshot and send it to me because I'm not going on a torrent site. I'm sorry.
I will.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, Lord.
All right. We've had our fun for the week. Until next time, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
We'll see y'all next week as we talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2018.